Pay close attention. This isn't something you see every day.
Welcome back to another video, and today I want to talk about the Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1984 comic book version of Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, and Raphael by Playmates. Now, I have never seen these guys. My wife argued with me and told me that she has seen these guys, but of course, I was right. She was wrong. So it's therefore, I have to also say, shout out to Vincent, my customer, who I was at his home today. He turned around and gave me these figures as a tip, which I thought was really awesome of him to do. So with all that being said, here are the figures in their boxes, and let's take a look at the way they look. Very nice black and white version of the actual figures. And then we have some artwork here, which is kind of a Lawson version of the artwork. A 1984 comic book, Michelangelo by Playmates here. On the side we have some more comic book illustration, and then some more here, and a little bit more at the top. And then in the back we have the classic original black and white comic book cover of the very first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic book by Eastman and Laird. Now, if you want to read that right there, by all means, feel free, pause it, give it a read. And yeah, pretty cool. And then on this side, once again, we still have some more of that artwork that they had on the other side as well. So with that being said, let's get these guys out of the box and let's have a look at them. So now that I have all four turtles out of the boxes and everything, I just want to say one thing. As I was opening up, I just want to show this off really quick. There's some more comic images right here on the inside shell of the container, but also there is a plastic piece that goes in here that you can remove without tearing this up if you want to save it. And that comes with a manhole cover that has the turtles' names on it. So that's actually pretty cool that they did that. And if you want to pause, take a look. But as you can see, they have some cool artwork from the comics from back in the day. Now, all right, back to the guys. Here they are. And I have to say, this is as a gift, this is a very cool gift from somebody. And yeah, I mean, they're neat. I can't say that they're not. Now, do they come with tons of accessories? No, they do not. Yes, they come with their signature weapons. And yes, they come with the manhole covers, which we will take a look at here in a little bit. So starting off, I'm going to start off from left to right, and we're going to take a look at Raphael. Now, most of all, the bodies are pretty much the same, okay, except for maybe the way they did the like pencil shading on the musculatures or the shell and stuff like that. And of course, their signature weapons. Of course, Raph has the gritting teeth on the left side of him, and then this side over here, he's got kind of like the smirk, right? So if you turn this way, he looks like this. If you turn this way, he gives the angry. Plus the bandana, you have the tassels flowing in the air that way, which is pretty cool. Now, coming down to his belt and his body, you know, listen, this is a Playmates figure. All right, so when it comes to articulation, there's really not a whole lot, especially when it comes to, okay, he can look up, but when it comes to looking down, they really can't look down. The heads can turn side to side, and they do have a bit of a head swivel here. But for the most part, that's pretty much it. But nonetheless, it's still a cool gift. Double jointed elbows, of course, they are pinned. And then you have your wrist joints and swivel. You have a bicep swivel. In here for the shell, there is no articulation on the inside part of the shell of the body. And then down here where the legs go on, they go on to some ball pegs. Okay, and he can do the splits just about as good as a Spider-Man figure can from Marvel Legends. I guess if you turn it up this way and then turn his legs, haha, you can get him to do the splits way better than a Spider-Man figure can. You can still get him to do it. Does it break the sculpt? Yes, it does. But if you want to get that articulation of him throwing a kick, you can. Now, of course, there is no ab. Oh my Lord, I just lost. There's no ab swivel. There are no ab articulation when it comes to, no torso articulation, I should say, whatsoever. It's just hard plastic here for these guys. Now, the belts are nice soft plastic, And the knee pads and the elbow pads are big. You know, they're actually quite big and meaty, just like they were in the comics. You have your thigh swivel up here, and yes, you have double jointed knees, which they only bend about that far. And then, of course, you do not have a shin swivel or anything underneath here when it comes to the actual underneath the knee pad. But then you have some foot articulation where it can go backwards and it can go forward, and they have some big colossal type feet. Not so, you have a little bit of a rocker, but if you turn it a little bit, then you can get it. But for the most part, is that what in the world? It's a mosquito attacking the turtle. Get out of here, will ya? All right, so anyway, I don't know what kind of blood he was planning on getting from plastic. So anyway, yeah, that's you know, I mean, it's Playmates, and yes, you have your shoulder articulation, which you can get their arms to go up this far. I mean, not bad. I mean, you want to have them doing a dab, you can have them doing a dab, right? Most part of the figures are very kind of soft plastic when it comes to the arms and the hands. These fingers on every single one of them is kind of painted together, so you got to kind of just gently spread it apart so you can get the weapons in there. Once you do, then that's that. So yeah, I mean, as far as like I said, as a gift, not too bad. Now, as far as like, as you can see in the joint right there, it looks like it's a little dirty or whatever the case is. That's just the way Raph came. And then of course you have his signature sai, which has the black wrapping on it. And they're not too bad. I mean, for the size of the figure, they're not bad at all, but they're just kind of, you know, a little, well, because they're black and white, you're not going to get that metal look like you would with like some of the others, which is, you know, I feel like they have great opportunity with these, and some of it was missed. That's all I'm saying. But hey, I mean, that's pretty cool. And then of course he comes with his standard sewer cover that says Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it says Raphael, and then of course you have the two pegs where you can actually peg him onto the actual cover itself. Now, that's Raphael. Moving on to Leonardo. Once again, same thing, same body sculpt. I'm not going to go over the whole articulation and everything like I did there, but as you could take a look at the face sculpt, Leonardo, when you have him turned this way, you get that kind of a look, and when you turn him this way, you get kind of the angry look, right? So that's cool. I mean, looking up wise, just like Raphael, he can look up, but you know, and the head articulation, his bandana sweeps to the left where Raph sweeps to the right. I like the fact that they got the facial expressions really nice. I like the fact that every single one of them have a little bit of something different on their face when it comes to the shading. Same thing with the shells difference in the arms, and also on the back of the carapin here, and then also on the elbow pads, which I did not go over with Raph's, but as you can see, it's different, but yet you have stuff different when it comes to the elbow pads as well. Nothing on the back of the legs at all, or the bottom part of the shell, which is once again missed. I don't know why, but it's missed. Anywho, and the same thing with the feet, like all the way down to the legs, but the feet, they didn't bother to do. They're like, yeah, forget it. Same thing with the hands. The hands don't have that either. Kind of strange. Well, whatever the case. Nice little shading inside the mouth, which also Raphael has right there, which I didn't point out, which I apologize for. And then you have Leonardo's katanas, and you know, not bad. I like the way they did the wrapping, nice and smooth there, right? If you actually take a look, I don't know if it's going to come through on camera, but if you take a look, you can see there's a bit of a design in there. But for the most part, he's got the nice thick type of katana, the way it was like kind of in the cartoon, but also in the comic it was like that as well. So, you know, that's not too bad. A little bit missed opportunity, like I said, where they could have gone a little bit, in my opinion, with them a little bit better, but that's just, you know, like I said, that's just my opinion. No articulation on it, you know, it's just static right here. The whole body is just static. Nothing really going on there except for the head, the articulation. Like the whole neck piece, everything would have been a cool, now I don't know how much these guys are, because like I said, it was a gift from a customer of mine, which was really cool. And I'm not knocking them. I'm not saying they're bad. I think they're pretty cool. Would I have picked them up? I don't know. But anyway, he comes with his sewer cover as well, just like Raphael's, and then also in dark ink, you have Leonardo. They're cool, don't get me wrong. Are they a Super 7? No, I mean, close to. Super 7 has a little bit more articulation when it comes to it, but I don't know if that's why Playmates stayed away from some of this stuff. I mean, Playmates has the rights to these guys, so I don't know why they would not have taken full advantage of making these, guys a little bit more, just a little here's and there's. That's all they're missing, and they would have been like absolutely fantastic figures. They're great figures if you want to pick these up. If you want a set of black and white turtles for your shelf, I don't see why not. Then we have Donatello here, and Donatello always with this static look on his face. Classic to the comic, always cool. Turning to the side, he's got kind of a smirk. Turn this way, he's kind of got like a little bit of a different smirk. His bandana sweeps up. Once again, we have a little bit of paint here on the nose, and then as far as the pencil sketching or pen sketch shading on, or cell shading, whatever you want to say, on the body is here. Some back there on the shell. The other turtles have it as well. Just to darken it up, I guess they painted the whole inside of the shell black. Excuse me. Down to the belt, we have some more shading. And then once again, none on the feet, none on the arm, on the hands here, none on the bottom sides of the forearms, nothing on the back, shoulders, the neck, the back of the head, nothing down at the bottom of the carapin, nothing on the tail, nothing on the back of the legs or the back of the knee pads as well. But yet, we also have Donatello's bow staff. And yeah, they did a good job with this as well. I think that as far as showing this off, it's wrapped in the white cloth, and then you have the actual wood grain going through. And because it's all black and white, well, of course, the wood's going to be painted all black. But not too bad. I mean, I got to say, that's pretty good for Donatello's staff. And it's straight. It's not all bent out of shape or anything like that. So I think that's a job well done that they did with that. But once again, a little here's and there's would have made it go a long way as far as articulation. But yeah, Donatello, I mean, looking good. I love this head sculpt of his, because this is the way he looked in the comic, and that's how you could always tell who, between them, besides the weapons, when it came to the turtles, because they always had a certain type of look on them when it came to the seriousness. Now, even Donatello, even when it's straight on look on his face right there, you can see that he's got some seriousness going on right there. So, with that being said, I almost forgot. He also comes with the standard sewer cover as well. Donatello in black, and of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then you have the pins to stand them on. So, like I said, are they great figures? No. Are they cool figures? Absolutely. Are they cool to have if you wanted a set of black and white figures for your turtle collection? Absolutely. Now, getting onto Michelangelo, my all-time favorite. There he is with his gritting teeth on both sides. And yes, I mean, you turn him this way, he's got a different look. You turn him this way, it's a different look. But he's smiling. And of course, his headband is sweeping over to the right. And once again, the shading on the shell and then on the belt, arms, different than any of his brothers here. And then moving to the back, once again, it kills me that they stopped. They could have done a little bit more on the back, maybe a little bit here on top of the head. But that's something that, it's just little tiny missed opportunities like that. And then, of course, his feet and stuff like that. Now, you probably could touch it up yourself. That's a true thing. You know what I mean? If you're one of those guys that, that are good at, you know, customizing a figure and stuff like that. You know, you add a little bit of here's and there's, and you know, it'll spruce them up. But as far as the articulation, the articulation is the articulation. You know, pretty much the bucks are the same. Head sculpts are different, of course, but the hands, all the hands are all the same. They don't come with any extra hands or anything like that. Now, the cool thing is that when it comes to Mikey, they gave him his chucks. If I can get him out of his hands. Come on. Come on. All right, so I got his chucks out of his hands, and here they are. And they actually used a metal chain, so that's cool. As you can see, they spin around. Now, this is plastic, so that doesn't move, so they're not going to swivel the way a normal chuck would, where it has the actual bearings in there, and this actually spins around like it's supposed to. This just kind of goes like this, and you want to make sure it doesn't, you know, mess up. That's cool. You have them hanging, you can have them going over his shoulder, around his neck, or wherever you want to pose them out. But that's cool that they gave the, and they've done that before with others as well. Now, be careful, because as you can see in here, the black from the chucks are coming off, so you got to kind of spread his fingers open a little bit and then move the chucks in there. That way they don't get all, you know, messed up. But can you lift up his arm and tuck his chucks underneath here so he can hold them under his arm? You can. Probably take a little bit of time to do. There you go. And there he's holding it, right? I mean, it's not the best way to show that pose. I mean, it'd be more kind of like tucked up underneath here. And the way that he did the paint on it, I'm gonna say it started to show a little bit here, so just be careful. Yep, see it rubbed off right there. So, but yeah, there you go. You can have them holding it like that. Just be careful. That's all I'm saying, because whatever type of paint they used, it does chip off pretty easy when it comes to the weapons. As you can see, it's on his shell. It does wipe right off, but yeah, well, this did, but not this under here. Oh no, it's coming off. You know, take a little magic eraser to probably clean it right off. But yeah, no, I mean, you know, you have his weapons. You have all 4 turtles and their weapons, and they're cool. They're very cool. I would stand these on a shelf on their own, only because of the fact that they are just to be considered the 1984 comic book version of the Turtles. Now, we're not talking about the ones made by NECA. Now, the ones made by NECA are fabulous, the ones that look like this, the smaller, stumpier looking ones. And then you have the Jim Lawson version ones. NECA is in a field all by itself when it comes to making Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures. I mean, it's just absolutely fabulous. Now, Super 7, they made some cool looking turtles from the, you know, the old cartoon and or from the old, you know, back in the 80s, not 80s, late 80s, early 90s, you know, the Playmate versions, and then of course the 2013 version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, one I did of Michelangelo by himself, because that's the only one I wanted. That one's cool. I like them, but they're not NECA. What NECA has brought to the table when it comes to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is just something fabulous. Not saying that Playmates didn't do a great job here. They did a fantastic job. But when you got NECA making the first, you know, concept artwork of the Turtles, you know, that Kevin Eastman and Peter later drew, you know, where they have the chucks on their arms and stuff like that. If you haven't seen that review, it's up here. It's up on the channel. Go check it out. That's a 2-pack. You know, you take a look at The Last Ronin. Awesome story, great looking figures. But then you talk about, like I said, the Jim Lawson, the original Eastman and Laird comic book version that are just massively expensive even now. They're just gorgeous. Even the Pizza Club version, which is the cartoon version of the Turtles, fabulous. Now granted, when it comes to articulation, they are not the greatest. So I'm not going to turn around and say, hey, when it comes to articulation, that they're doing such a bang up job. But when it comes to sculpt, weapons, and yes, when it comes to articulation, they are a little bit more superior than the Playmates here. So now that I've rambled on, and I know this video is getting a little bit long in the tooth, I'm going to try and pose these guys out to try and see if I can get that original comic book look from back in the 1984, that original comic book cover look. And oh, let me not forget, Playmates did do the original concept with all 4 turtles, the way they were drawn, on the little sub pages in the comic books, on their original look, and then of course they were changed to what they look like in the first comics. So with that being said, give me a minute, come back, gonna try and pose these guys out and see if I can get that capture that look, at least the best that I can, of that first comic book artwork, and then we'll end this review. All right, so here's the iconic photo right here on the back of the box, which we've seen before, which is the actual picture of the turtles from that iconic first comic. And then here we are, I'm trying to redo the whole thing, and yeah, it's somewhat, but what I've always noticed and never really gave too much thought about until just now is Michelangelo right here is standing next to Raph, and he has his chucks there. He's actually given Raphael bunny ears in the actual picture, which is actually quite comical because, he is the funny one. So I was able to get him to hold the 2 chucks together to kind of emulate that. So, but yeah, can you kind of somewhat do that? Yeah, I mean, you have the stands, so if you put them on the stands, it'll probably help them stand a little bit better, and you could probably get it a little bit more. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this Playmates version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Well, I should say Playmates version of Eastman and Laird's original iconic 1984 comic book Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which on each box, like I said, they come labeled with their names: Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, Raphael, vice versa. However, their names are on the boxes. It is friendly as far as taking the characters out of the clamshell and putting it back in with the accessories and so on and so forth, along with the actual covers when it comes down to the manhole covers. That way you don't have to tear apart the boxes if you choose to keep them in box. So with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment down below. Always hit the notification bell so you never miss out on anything that we are putting up. And I have to go attend to my little puppy, so I will catch you all on the flippity flip.